Keegan and Company is not a licensed mental health service and should not be a substitute for professional help. In these conversations, we touch on a variety of mental health issues, and the advice given is general in nature. So, if you are struggling, please seek professional advice or call Lifeline on 13 11 14. Enjoy the episode. Keegan and Company. It's Keegan and Company. The company is here. That's it. That's got to be it. Welcome back to the Keegan and Company podcast. Before we kick things off, I do have a favour to ask. If you guys haven't already subscribed on whatever platform you listen to this podcast on, can you all just jump out, quickly subscribe? It does help us a lot. It does help us grow the podcast. So now, this episode, I'm joined by one of my really good men, one of my really good mates. Busy time of year for him, Luke Garner. How are you, brother?
Very good, Keegan. Thanks for having me, man.
Bro, Grand Final week. Are you joking? How you feeling?
Yeah, feeling really good. It's been a pretty crazy week. Some things that I'm not usually used to, I guess.
Yeah.
Obviously, the past couple of years haven't been too good football wise, but really enjoying the week, and over the next couple of days, just sort of narrowing down my role in the game.
Where'd you just come from? You came from FanFest?
Yeah.
What does that look like?
What
are you doing?
We just had the FanFest thing at the overseas passenger terminal in at the Rocks there in Circular Quay. Yeah. It's just sort of, I guess they brought Broncos down from Brizzy and got everyone on stage, and heaps of fans there, and it was sort of just a hype up for the game.
Does it get like? It's a big week, right? Like everyone says, you got to lose a grand final before you win one, just because the week is just so wild. Like, what have you guys been doing? Does it change the way you guys usually set up for a game? Like, what has the week been looking like?
No, the week is pretty much what we've been doing all year, and other than the other commitments that we have, like the open training session and like the fan fest and stuff today, and all the media we had out to training on Tuesday as well. It's other than that, it's all systems go. It's all the same, and just preparing for the big game.
You excited?
Yeah, pumped. Yeah, it's like I said, it's been a wild 12 months. Coming from wooden spoon to potentially winning it. So it's very exciting.
I read somewhere there's not many lads who have gone from like wooden spoon to play in a grand final. I think Branko Lee might have been one of them, and it was with us at the Titans.
Oh, was it?
when we got the wooden spoon. We got the wooden spoon, and then he went to Storm and played grand final the next year. I can't remember if they won or lost, but before that, bro, it was like 20 years. I remember when you like signed with Penrith, I was like, bro, you're gonna play in a grand final, and you're like, fuck, that's the dream. That'd be the goal.
Yeah. Well, it was, and I guess fast forward probably 12 months, 18 months since I signed. It's it's come true, and but at the end of the day, we still got one more to go, and I'm not counting my chickens before they hatch. Because
the boys have obviously been there before, hey? Like, they've been there for the last 2 years. They won the last 2 years in a row, which is just wild. I don't think there's not many teams who have gone three-peat. Like, Para way back in the 80s, like 81, 82, 83. Look at my footy knowledge. I fucking...
Very smart. You're all over
Bro,
it.
I don't watch footy that much, to be honest, mate.
Yeah.
Like, I watch the boys. Like,
Yep.
I'll watch my mates play, rather than that, not really. But, yeah, mate, to do 3 times, how... Mate, what's the difference between... I know, like a wooden spoon team, and then going into Penrith, like why they're just winners. Like, what's the go?
Yeah, I think it, probably all starts in the pre-season. Obviously, what they've built over the past couple of years, and sort of the culture that is at Penrith, and it's just sort of we train obviously really hard. I guess every team does, but we train really hard as well, and just our preparation for games, and I think just the will to win, and everyone competing, whether that's, in the gym or, on the field. It's just everyone wants to win at all stages. So, that obviously carries out in the field, and, just shows sort of where since I've come to the club, where we've been and where they have been the past couple of years.
Is there someone that's like, I guess, kind of helped you come in? Like, is there someone that you've like spoken to, or has there been like, I don't really want to say mentor, but is there someone that you kind of like, I don't know, help roll your position or help you become a better player? Is there someone that in the Penrith side or even coaches that have helped?
There's probably no one in particular. It's probably everyone really. It's just the culture there.
It's a group,
really.
Yeah.
Like you got players like Nathan Cleary, Yo, have sort of done everything in the game, and someone who I really have come to the club and really sort of, I guess, looked up to in a way is James Fisher Harris. You know, he's He's quiet by nature, but you know, when he speaks, everyone listens, and you know, his work ethic and his desire to win is, you know, second to none, and that's something I really admire, and something that I've definitely learned from him since I've been at the club.
Mate, it's so cool. There's always those guys who are like competitors. Like when I did the Paddy podcast a couple of weeks ago, he talked about Renault and how when Renault came in, he's just like so professional, and how like you can't like learn those skills. Like you can't fast track hard work, and you can't fast track the learning process, because Bronx, they went through obviously the shit 2021 season. Now they're playing the grand final. It's like we were just young. Like there was a whole group of young boys that were together, and now, you know, they've learned through it. They've come out the other side and they get to play in the grand final. But he said you can't fast track that. But then you look at someone like Cleary, who's like, he's like our age. Like he's like 26 or something.
He's young. He's younger than me, so he might be your age,
Yeah,
maybe.
he's young, but like he's been doing it for years. Like he's made 2 grand finals, like won 2 grand finals. Like what's he doing that's different?
Yeah, he's just a freak.
Yeah,
He's just a genuine freak, and it's not. I don't like trying to be nice. Like it's not all just like talent, right?
Yeah.
He works really hard as well at the same time. Like, you know, he's always sort of the last one on the field, last one at training, last one in the gym. Like he's always like that guy. Like you hear people like saying like that's sort of what sets other people apart from sort of the, I guess not the average players, but like that's what sets him apart from everyone else. Yeah, he's just very diligent with what he does. He sees, I think he sees himself as like a student of the game still, so he's very eager to learn, and that just shows his development over his career.
There's some guys who are like just nerds, hey, like just footy nerds. I think it was like Ches, like they'll watch every game. Like even the Penrith boys, I hear they watch every game, and like I look back when I was playing footy, I was not watching every game, mate.
Yeah, well, I'm a bit like you. I don't watch too many games, but
you obviously do like preview and stuff. Like you'll do all your video, but like just to enjoy it.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. No, it's I do find it hard a little bit to, especially now that I've come to the club, wanting to learn so much. I do find it hard to sort of sit down and try and enjoy a game rather than sort of try and watch it for, I guess, benefits for myself or for the team. So, you know, probably this time last year watching the grand final, that was probably the last time I've enjoyed watching a game of footy.
Yeah.
I do enjoy it, but rather than being a fan, I've been watching it more as a player and trying to improve.
Did you sign with Penrith before the grand final last year?
Yeah, I signed. I think it was probably around round 8 to 10 last year. I think I signed.
Mate, how mad is that, knowing that like you're going to a club that are playing in a grand final? What was that feeling like?
Yeah, it was pretty special. I remember on grand final night watching the game, and obviously seeing the boys get up. I was, before knowing any of the fellas, I was sort of watching it going, you know, I think if they win 2 here, you know, complacency might slip into the mind, like as it naturally does.
Yeah,
like it's a normal thing, right? And I was, you know, a little bit nervous, obviously coming to the club, going, oh, you know, I hope we can get there again. And but yeah, since coming to the club, it's sort of, yeah, they're hungrier than ever, really.
Yeah.
Like it's pretty wild. Like they are a really different bunch of boys.
How do you sustain that for so long though? Like, because you can't, like, obviously the record speaks for itself. No one goes back to back that often and then go 3-peat and still be hungry to fucking get another one.
I know, it's wild. I think it just speaks to the competitive nature of the boys and the desire and the hunger, and you know how keen they are to win. It's a pretty special group.
Why'd you go to Penrith? Like, why? What was the what drew you? Was it Ivan, or what was the conversations there?
Yeah, so I was off contract. Excuse me. I was off contract last year with Tigers, and I've gave me a message and just asked for if we could have a chat, and I was like, yeah, let's do it.
He coached you before?
Yeah, he gave me my debut game at Tigers in 2018. So, you know, we did work a little bit together back then, and I really enjoyed, you know, his style of coaching and the way he coached. And you know, as soon as he sort of gave me a bit of interest, and obviously we worked together before, and I really enjoyed it. And then seeing the resume of the team of what they put together the past couple of years is something really hard to say no to.
Is what kind of coach is Ivan like? I've had, mate, we was at Titans. We had went through like 3 club rebuilds over like 4 years with the Titans, and we had Garth Brennan, Justin Holbrook, Neil Henry, all like very different coaches. Like some are people pleasers, will tell you what they want to hear, and then some guys will tell you pretty straight. And then even like Brad Arthur, like he will tell you very much how it is. What's Ivan like? Will he tell you how it is, or will he is he more of a mate or a dad? Like what's the dynamic?
Yeah, he's sort of, I guess, a bit of both. He does tell you straight, and you know, obviously holds very high standards, but at the same time, is very much someone that everyone respects and looks up to in our team, and just the confidence and that he instills in you is it's pretty crazy. Like he's just a really just good dude. Like he's just a legend, and he doesn't get too high, too low. It sort of keeps it at a nice, calm level, and
That's
I
nice.
respond well to it. I respond really well to that because when if coach is too high, or too low, I might ride that wave with him.
Yeah. What was I going to say? I was going to talk about the game plan for this weekend. Obviously, like don't give away too much because you're going into it. But what's is it just same as usual? Like same game plan. We don't need to change too much being a grand final, or is it just straight into it? What's the plan?
Yeah, I guess just play our type of footy. It's just something that we do really well on and work really hard at, and obviously without diving too much into it, it's we're just preparing really well for the Broncos. Obviously they got heaps of star players, and we do too. So it'll be an exciting game.
I can't wait to see like the forwards match up. Hey.
Yeah, obviously Broncos have a mad forward pack, and our forward pack's pretty gun too. So it'll be interesting, and I'll be on the bench for however long in the game, but it'll be good to watch and hopefully go out there and match it with the boys.
It's cool to see like because everyone talks about how Penrith had like the young boys that came through together, like with Cleary and Luai and that, and Bronx are the same. Like they're kind of both two young teams. Because you were at 20s at Manly, and
Manly.
You played Penrith in the grand final back then, yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. We had we matched up against Penrith in the GF, and I think it was 2016 maybe or 2015. And we had a pretty good team. We had like Nico Hines, Turbo, Liam Knight, Jesse Ramian. So we had a gun team, and all those Penrith boys. I think it was like 14 or 15 out of 17 played NRL. It's wild. Yeah. It's wild. And some of the boys are still there now. And an article came up the other day of that matchup.
Yeah.
And we were having a bit of a laugh about it between a few of us. And it's just crazy to see how many of them have kicked on and even stayed at the club.
Did they win?
Yeah, they got us. They got us like 36-18.
Oh, geez, tough. But I mean, look at them now, and then, bro, maybe this weekend, you never know what's going to happen, right?
Exactly, yeah.
Imagine walking out. Have you, obviously, you don't talk about celebrations like beforehand, too early. Deal with that later.
Yeah. It's all taken care of. Yeah, the club's good. They look after us really well, and they, the boys have already got that sorted, and just get it out of the way early, and then we can focus on the game.
Mate, lovely. I love that. Mate, I do want to rewind to... Bro, the old Palmy days, like for those who are listening, like Garns and I went to Palm Beach Currumbin together, which was pretty cool. Mate, one of the great schools. I was thinking about it. Actually, I spoke to Carl Lawton this morning, and he's just checking in. And I was like, oh, I'm doing a podcast with Luke. I was like, have you got anything for me? And he's just like, mate, he was a front rower, like turned winger. I used to call him the big polar bear.
Yeah, of course he did.
Mate, what was how'd you go from being a front rower? Because I'll actually rewind a little bit. Grew up in Dubbo, born in Dubbo.
Yeah, I didn't grow up in Dubbo. I didn't grow up there. I lived there for a couple of years, and then me and the fam moved to Kingscliff.
Yeah.
Lived there for a bit.
What a spot, bro.
Cracker spot.
Yeah.
And then moved to Terranora, and then lived there pretty much up until I moved to Sydney. Obviously, went to school at Kingy for a bit, and then came to Palmy.
Did you enjoy Palmy? Because everyone has they have a love-hate relationship with school. I fucking loved school.
Bro, I loved it.
It's the best school ever.
I love it. It's the best. Footy as a subject, taking the piss. It's unreal. It's so good. We just trained, man.
And then go for a recovery at the beach.
Yeah, it's the spot in itself at the school is just so ideal on the river, on the where's it, Crumman Creek?
And
the beach is just there. One of the best schools, man.
Did you go there for footy?
Yeah, I had to trial out for footy. I remember, it's funny. I wasn't even making the Kingscliff football team at school, really, in under 10s, year 10, sorry. I couldn't even make that team, and then I was sort of like, I feel like I could make it. I feel like I'm better than that.
Yeah.
I was playing a bit of just rep footy for Group 18 and stuff like that, and I couldn't make.
Because you had to be accepted in the program in order to go to the school, right?
Yeah, so I had to go out and trial at Palmy, and then eventually got in, and played a couple of years there, and it was the best move I made.
Mate, it was so cool. I remember I was lucky enough because I got to play up with you because I think you were a year older. Did you graduate 13?
Yes.
2013. So I got to play it with you, and then your younger brother Shawnee got to play it with me, which was mad.
Oh, it's sick. It's funny. It's funny you mention that. I feel like I feel like me and you are closer now, like outside of school, and since you've come to Sydney than we were at school. Like I don't
100%.
remember, like we weren't.
We didn't knock around that much at school,
Nah,
even though like
nah.
we played footy. But you're on the wing.
Yeah,
you're
exactly.
a fast winger.
Exactly,
and you're a year older.
Yeah,
which
exactly.
helps,
Yeah. So no, it was it's pretty wild. I was playing front row for Blamble, and then going to school playing on the wing.
Did you just lean out? Did you just have a growth spurt?
No,
What
no.
happened?
Well, it was at the same time.
Yeah.
I was playing front row like during so on the weekends, and then playing wing at school. It's just I don't know. I guess obviously at the club football level, it's sort of everyone's not as big and all that type of stuff. So it was a bit easier for me to transition from there to the wing, and we were stacked. We had a stacked team, so just chuck me on the wing and I'd do my best.
Did you play up with like LG Rome and that? Or
Nah,
that wasn't your year, hey?
Nah, that wasn't my year. I think because I was a year old for everyone, like older than everyone in my grade.
Okay.
So I think they were like another year older than that. So I missed their.
Who are the boys that kicked on from your year? I think it was just Carl. You and
Yeah,
Carl,
it's just
right?
me, Carl.
Because a year older, they had a few like Jerome
we're older.
Hughes,
Yeah.
Kane LG.
Yeah, I can't think of anyone else to be honest. I think it was just me and Carl.
Boothie,
Boothie.
Aaron
Boothie.
Booth.
Yeah, Boothie. We had like obviously like Eden Simon that like that. Like he come down for 20s and stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, just from memory, I think it was just us three.
And then even our year, like Keenan Palacia.
Yeah.
Who's number 17? Like you're both 17s this weekend, which is both a matchup.
I know. It's funny. We just come from that fan fest then, and obviously I know Keenan pretty well. Obviously went to school together and stuff like that, and like they both so they'd call out like positions, so like ones, and so both like
go out together.
Dylan Edwards, Reece Walsh would come out and like stand next to the trophy.
Yeah.
And it was me and Keenan were number 17. And I was like, oh shit, talking to the boys before, and I was like, fuck, I know him. Do I shake his hand or not? Like I don't know what to do. And then none of the boys were shaking hands, nothing like that. So so I was like, oh, well, I'm not gonna. So I just went out there and staunched it. But I'll definitely say hello to him after the game.
He's he's not like he's a footy player. But he's not a footy player. Like we always because we lived together at Bronx.
Oh really?
Back like way. So we were like because I've known Keenan for years. Like he was actually he was so fat. Like he was a fat
really?
kid. Yeah, mate. I met him in like under 11s like South Coast like the local representative team. And he was the biggest kid. Like you would think he's 15 years old when he was 10. Right. He was so big.
Man-child, eh?
Man-child. Every year's got him. And my dad's like, go kick the footy with that kid. And I was just like, oh yeah, okay. And we just started kicking the footy and became best mates.
That's
like we caught the train from like Nerang to Palm Beach every day. We were part of that group,
gotcha.
that motley crew that would like get on the train and go to Palmy. But then he just leaned out. I was playing like 5'8" for Palmy for a little bit. Like once you retired, not retired. Once you moved on, once you left, mate, he played halfback. Like he fully leaned out, and then 20s, kicked on. But he's like a kid. Like he's just such a little kid.
Yeah, I haven't seen him in years, man. But he's gone. How good is he going?
Bro, he's going so good. But he's had like so many. Like 2 or 3 like knee recos, like a bunch of injuries. He had a preseason. Oh no, he was like full time. And then didn't get signed, went and worked at a bank for like a year or 2 years, like, and then playing like park footy at Wynnum, and then got preseason, then signed top 30, and then kept played a mad season, I think 2 years ago, killed it last year, and now he's playing consistent footy this year.
Yeah, that's sick. And he's going Titans, isn't he?
He's going Titans, he signed a couple of years. Yeah, it's so cool. Like, yeah, it just ties it back into like the friendships that you get to make. Like pre footy, but then even in footy, like even us reconnecting like outside of like come back to Sydney.
Oh man, yeah, that's one of the best things about footy is just making mates. Like it's a pretty special bond of what you have to go through and stuff like that together. Just from the pressure to how hard training is and stuff like that. You really develop good friendships over that time. Hey,
do you reckon like going through those super hard times like bring you closer together?
Yeah, 100%.
So like an example or like a story that you've had like through some really hard times?
I think the first thing that comes to mind is probably like all the army camps and that you go through, right? Like there's nothing harder in football than some of those things they put you through. So yeah, there's always like how shit it is, like getting just smashed.
What was your worst one?
We had one at Tigers probably like 3-4 years ago now. We went down to an army base just a little bit south of Sydney, and we just got put through the ringer for like 3-4 days, like zero sleep, zero food. And I remember one morning we had to wake up and push these like army trucks at like 3 a.m. for like 5 kilometers. Like it was ridiculous. Like these things were barely moving, man, and we had to push them so far. And then I think once we got to the end, then we had to like run with these jerry cans back, and it was just the most torture thing. But some of the stories that come out of those times are so funny. Once you look back on them, you just crack up.
Even straight after the camp, where like you usually go for a couple beers afterwards, it's like everyone's just laughing. It's like, remember when such and such did this?
yeah, that's the best part about it. Like it sucks in the moment, and obviously you learn so much about it and from it. Sorry, and yeah, just the laughs afterwards. That's we had one in the preseason recently, and I remember just thinking halfway through, going, "This sucks," but I can't wait to laugh about it afterwards.
Yeah, 100%. I remember when we were at Titans, we were under one of the coaches there, who I won't say his name, but we were it wasn't an army camp, but they're like, we're just gonna do a long walk overnight, and it's just gonna be like, I think it ended up being like 52 k's. We started at 5 p.m. at night. And then we finished at 6 o'clock the next morning. Obviously, like we were running and we were doing like other stuff like along the way. But it was supposed to be like a team building thing. So the coaches were going to do it with us. Like our strength and conditioning coach, Dan Ferris, was there, and he had like no cartilage in his knee. He was one of the only coaches to finish it. Like none of the other coaches finished it. I remember we might have been like 25, 30 Ks in, and like a lot of it's just like uphill, like a lot of it's all up. I think there was one stairs that's kind of like Q1 on the Gold Coast, like how tall it is, like that's there, and you just got to walk up it, like, and compared, like obviously saying it out loud doesn't sound that bad, but it just sucked. And I remember one of the coaches, the head coach, he tapped out. He's just like, I can't do it anymore. And we were all like, no. We started grilling him. Then he was in the van, like went to sleep, and they were all just like, this is so shit. Like, why are we even doing this? It's like a pre-season camp.
Yeah, you have those moments, right? Like it's sort of, you have so many crazy thoughts going through your mind when you're doing it, and it's it's worth it though once you get through it.
Mate, when you were going through the junior ranks, were you one of those kids who always played rep footy, or was that something that came a little bit later?
Yeah, I played like the club, like group. I made like group 18 teams and that, like throughout junior footy and stuff like that. But I never got signed by like Titans or Broncos or anything like that. Like that was the shit. Like if you were signed by Titans or especially Broncos, like you were the man.
Yeah.
And yeah, I remember there was like kids growing up that I thought I was better than them, and they were getting signed, and I was like, oh, fuck, that hurts a bit. But yeah, I guess I probably had nothing to stress about really when I was young, because I guess I made it now.
But that's so wild for like a young kid. Like obviously this is a mental health and sport podcast. Like and we touch on mental health themes. It doesn't have to be the most crazy things that are going on. Sometimes it can, sometimes it can't. But even for like a young kid coming through, like not getting picked in a side, it can be like not traumatic, but it's like the worst thing that's ever happened to you, right?
Bro, it was the worst. It sucked. Like I thought like I'd never be a footy player if I made those teams.
Really?
Yeah, it's wild. Like and looking back now, it's that stuff doesn't matter at all.
Nothing, right?
No, and that's what I'll be telling my kids in the future, and that's what I try and tell kids now. Even if I speak to them, it's sort of, even if they're not the best player in the team right now, you just hang on and keep going, and you eventually sort of get there if you get a good opportunity.
You just got to grind it out. Like even if you are, I remember one of the coaches told Lordo, he's just like, you're not big enough to, like you'll never play first grade, and he's like, that comment just aided him for years.
Yeah, and sometimes you need that, right? Like sometimes you need a bit of adversity to go through before you learn your lesson. Like I've gone through plenty of stuff in my career, and it's probably I consider some of those things to be the best things that happened to me.
Why is that? What's one of the, I guess, challenges or struggles that you've gone through throughout your NRL career, whether that being like injury or whether that being off-field stuff? Is there something that you're comfortable talking about?
Yeah, for sure. I think touch wood, I haven't had too many crazy injuries, but probably the hardest thing I've been through footy was I was signed at Roosters after coming out of 20s. I signed there for 2 years, and probably wasn't ready to be a full-time footy player. Like I physically and mentally, it probably just wasn't quite
How
there.
old were you?
I was 21, so like I was 21, 22. So coming out of 20s, but I was at Roosters and sort of training full-time, and thought I made it, right. Like I was like, oh, I'm mad. Like I'm a full-time footy player now. This is sick. This is what I always wanted to do. And after the first year, Trent Robertson sort of just called me in his office and just told me he's sending me back to Wyong, which is their reserve grade team at the time. And I was pretty rattled. Like I was, but
especially for someone like Robbo, right? Like
like obviously one of the best coaches to do it, and to more or less tell you that you sort of not going to be a footy player, not going to be a first grader,
Yeah.
sucked. And yeah, I was pretty heartbroken at the time, and it took me a little bit to get over. But I say it now, I reckon that's the best thing that's ever happened to me.
Why is that? Just because you go back and you work harder?
Yeah, for sure. Like, I just took it for granted. I think when I was there, just being in that environment, I thought everything would just happen naturally and come to me. And yeah, just getting sort of sent back and just gave me a bit of a reality check and taught me how to work hard. And yeah, it's just not to take things for granted.
Did you lean on anyone throughout that time? Like after the conversation with Robert, like, do you have like a mum, or do you talk to your brothers? Like, is there anyone that you talk to when you go through, those wild conversations?
Yeah, obviously family, friends are always there, right? Like I'm blessed. I've got a good family and got heaps of mates and stuff like that. So I'm very lucky. I had plenty of support, and I guess I do like to think of myself as pretty mentally strong. So I obviously leaned on that a little bit as well, and just worked really hard on myself and in the background to get back to where I wanted to be.
Is it just physical? Because like I remember when I was playing footy, like I focused on the physical, like working hard, like training hard, over than like skills, mental work. Like, do you do any like? And you don't have to. Like, you might not do anything for your mental, but do you do anything like instead of just like grinding it out, like physically?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it was then once it got flicked from the Roosters, and there has been a number of times over my career and over my life that I've spoken to psychologists, and something that I actually really encourage, and I know you do too. I probably don't speak to them as much as I would like and as I should, and I think that's something that's really helped me as well over every time. It seems to be every time I go through something hard is when I speak to one.
Really, yeah.
Yeah, so it's probably I probably should be a little bit more proactive about it and speak to them even just when things are going good too. Just keep those reps up.
Bro, that's the conversation. That's the conversation I have with everyone. I was the same. Like, I would only go see a psych when something was really bad that was happening in my life. And someone said to me the other day where they're like, well, when you're fit, do you stop going to the gym? I was like, well, fuck, that makes so much sense. Of course.
Yeah.
Like, of course. I see psych monthly.
Yeah.
Like, monthly now. Like, and most of the times when I am feeling good, that's when, like, some really cool things come out. And she'll just check in, like, whether it's whatever it is, like moving on from a job, like, or whether it's like going back and studying psychology. Like, I'm going to go back and study psych, which would be really cool. So I'm going to be a psychologist one day, maybe.
Yeah, I'll speak to you.
I don't know if that's a good idea. We'll just probably talk shit for an hour.
Yeah, that's all right. That's probably what you need sometimes.
Well, that's it. And like, even in the professional sporting space, like, there's no really club like full-time psychologist. Do you have a full-time psych at Penrith?
No, we don't have a full-time psych. No, we have we have a psychologist linked to our club
that you can go off and see.
Yeah, I hear about like the American sports and stuff like
100%.
that. They have full-time psychologists, and I think that'd probably be a really good investment for clubs, I reckon.
Bro, imagine like, because the American UK teams, they got like 2 or 3 that travel around with the team full time.
Right. Wow.
So imagine like, because I know with like us footy boys and even just guys in general, like we're not probably that prone to talk about like what's going on. But imagine if you had like, and this is the way I look at it. Imagine if you had someone who had played the game, but then also had like the foundations of psychology and had been in it for years, and that was around the club all the time, instead of like going out and making the effort of being like, oh, I'm going to have to book in, I'm going to have to work around the psychologist schedule. Where if you got one of the boys who you knock around with, you might have had a couple beers with every now and then, but they've got the foundational knowledge, you're more likely to have those types of conversations, right?
Oh, for sure. We're pretty blessed. We have Kevy Kingston at our club, and he's not obviously not a qualified psychologist. He's our welfare guy, but he more or less is a psychologist.
Like, he's been through the whole thing, right?
Yeah, for sure. Like he knows what it's like to be an NRL player, play at the heights, like and sort of I guess he probably played at some lows as well. And he's a really compassionate guy, and someone I know everyone loves at the club, and he's always he like you said, he travels with us as well, and I know a lot of the boys will probably lean on him. I certainly have over the past year I've been here, and I think if every club had that, it'd be an absolute blessing.
It'd be so cool. I think I think there's so much room for improvement, not even just in the NRL space, but like in Australian sporting space, like Collingwood, AFL, they do it the best. They've got Jackie Lauder, who's full-time. She's full-time psychologist, sports psychologist. I think she's sports psychologist. Anyway, like I was talking to her a little while ago, and she was saying that when a player comes on board, they get to know them so well. They know what their grades were. They know if they have any like like learning difficulties, if they have like bipolar or like ADHD, like he knows everything about them, so they can help navigate their career and help them lean on it. And she's at the point now where when they're playing a game, she sits sideline with the team.
Yeah.
So if a player's like not playing that well, they can come off and like speak to her. Obviously, it's all player driven. Like it started off where she was just having the conversations in the background, and then this head staff, because it doesn't happen without the head coach and without the other team buying in. But all the players were pushing for it, and then she's like, yeah, for our full time. You look, they're in the fucking grand final this weekend.
Well, that's
as well.
I was just gonna say. I feel like Collingwood have been a strong team for years as well. So like, I'm guessing that's probably a part of the reason why, right? She might be like a secret weapon sort of thing. So yeah, if every club could buy into that, I'm sure you'd see your success rise.
Who do you follow much AFL?
I don't. I do watch the grand finals and stuff like that, but don't follow it.
We got Collingwood, Brizzy, and two Brizzy teams. Like how wild is that?
I know.
We got some mates in the Collingwood side, like Leggy and Braden Maynard.
Okay.
Who's like he got suspended. Oh, he almost got suspended in like the semi-final.
Yeah.
He like ran up and did this kind of tackle
I
where it hit him in the head. It was pretty wild. Obviously like accidental.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's cool to see mates like watching. Like I said, like I don't watch much footy, but I can't wait to watch like you this weekend. I can't wait to watch like the Bronx, like Keenan and Paddy and like all the boys that we've got to play with. Like that'd be so cool.
It'll be it'll be fun. It's always. I don't know too many of the Bronx boys, but it'll be fun to get out there and clash it with them.
Mate, what's plans after in the off season? You're gonna try and get away?
Yeah. Me and the missus are going to Japan.
Oh, how cool!
Yeah. So that's something we've wanted to do since we've been together. So obviously with COVID and stuff like that, and not being able to go to seas, we sort of just travelled Australia a little bit. So we've been to some pretty cool places in Australia so far, but to get overseas, it's a bit different. It'll be a pretty cool experience, and something we've been looking forward to for a while.
Mate, before we wrap things up, I do want to talk about like life after footy and what you're doing. I know like everyone talks about having like a plan B and life after. You're either like plan B life after footy, or you're just like head down and like footy's my life. Do you have any plans of what you want to do after footy?
Yeah, I'm always going through sort of different things in my mind of what I want to do. For a long time there, I actually wanted to be a psychologist as well.
Really?
Never acted on it.
Bro,
but
I didn't know that.
Nah.
Get that one hidden.
I know. Yeah. Well, I never really acted on it, but that's something I was really keen on for a while. But now I'm doing a certificate of Bachelor of Strength and Conditioning. Sick. So, been at uni for a little bit for that, and just chipping away slowly, and just trying to set myself up the best I can for footy.
Do you want to go into like a strength and conditioning role at a club?
I think so. There's definitely a few people, whether I was at Tigers or now at Penrith, that I've sort of, looked at and looked at, how sick their job is, and to stay in that footy system, I think is something I want to do. Like it's a pretty special environment. I couldn't see myself out of it.
Bro, I could see you as like a strength and conditioner for a club.
Yeah.
Like I obviously like played the game, but like with like Kevin Kingston, someone that the boys can lean on.
Oh, for sure. I think that's one of the best things about Penrith is like sort of all the players, trainers, and everyone involved. Everyone's sort of either been in football for a long time or had played NRL and knows what it's like. So, to be in that type of environment, it would be sick, I reckon. Yeah,
I sort of like took it for granted. Hey, like I always thought it'd be such like it's obviously really cool when you're in it, and then I was like, oh, I can't wait to step out of it and do my own thing. But now stepping out of it's like you realize how special it actually is, like being in a professional sporting environment.
Yeah,
and like even like the things like you'll notice it. Like I think you'll transition out of footy really well purely because of like your hard work, your work ethic, you're resilient, and you're fucking just a good dude. Like people like having good people around their organisations. That's why I think you'll fucking kill it when you get out. So, brother, I'm really excited to see what you're going to do post-footy.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Yeah, and it's something that, I probably only understood for the past couple of years is something I need to set myself up for. And, it's something that, I encourage everyone to do because it's obviously really important. Footy doesn't go forever.
Well, bro, mate, thank you so much for jumping on the podcast. Thank you for touching on, mate, Grand Final week and everything else in between, mate. Before, just a little parting gift. I just want to say, we've got some friends. We've got some friends for the podcast.
I saw that on Instagram last night.
Yeah,
awesome.
It was just on the close friends, just some mates.
Yeah,
but this is Whoop, so this is for you, brother.
Oh, thank you very much. That's sick, man. I've always wanted one of these.
Have you seen them? Do you know what they are?
Yeah.
Kind of like a recovery tracker.
Yeah.
So so I did a podcast with Ali Day maybe end of last year, but we only released it like, I don't know, a couple months ago. And he gifted me one. And it was like, because we use recovery trackers like all the time with like in footy.
Yeah.
And even post footy, like they've got like different types. But This is the one that I've like sort of done a deep dive in. Like it
Yep.
measures it measures your daily strain, so how hard you're working,
Yep.
your sleep, which I use every day, and stress.
Yeah, right. So you just wear it like just
I wear
24/7, really.
I wear it 24/7, and you don't
Yeah.
have to take it off the charge.
Oh, you don't?
Nah, it's mad. Because that's the biggest thing. Like even with the Oura rings or the Apple watches, like you have to take them off the charge like every night.
Yeah.
But this is like I think I can get about 10 days out of it, 7 to 10 days. And there's like a little charger that you just slip on
I see.
when you sleep. It's so cool. But I'll look at like stress and sleep daily. So I can go back and obviously it's like see if I'm not getting enough sleep. It also giving me like my daily strain, so how hard I've worked throughout the day. So I did
Yeah.
a sesh with Braith this morning.
Yeah, yeah.
And a few of the boys, and it was like a pretty solid session.
Yeah, it looked like it.
Oh mate, one of the boys got back from Europe, so he's just like, we're gonna have
You
a
have
good
to rip
nudge.
it,
We're gonna have
yeah,
a good nudge. And so I can see that, and I was like, oh, bad night's sleep last night, so I'm just gonna pull back for this afternoon.
Yeah, right. I
So
love that stuff. Like I get obsessed with my Apple Watch in the off season.
Really?
Yeah, get obsessed with it, just like training and stuff like that. But I heard these are really accurate. I had a mate that had one.
Yep.
And yeah, he loved it as well.
Mate, I was talking to one of the boys at the Swans, and the strength and conditioning player at the not strength and conditioning player, the coach at the Swans,
Yeah.
and he was testing, I think, Whoop and Oura rings, and he said in terms of like accuracy of data, like these guys have just got it so like dialed in.
That's mad.
But you've got two there, so you got one for you got one for your missus.
Oh, legend.
They
Thank you, brother.
They found
That's
like,
unreal.
well, it's like when you like do something with someone, you're more likely to like stick around and do it, right? So you got 12 months. I think they work off like a subscription base.
Yep.
But you've got that there. Just plug it in. You'll have like 12 months just to trial it out. I'm going to create like a little Whoop, like because you can make a community like
Oh, sweet.
on the app. I'll
Oh,
show you.
cool. Yeah,
I'll show you
yeah.
the app when we get off. But
Yeah.
you can create like a community. You can see how like hard everyone's
Oh, that's
training
cool.
and stuff.
Yeah,
So
that's
like
cool. That's sick.
yeah, so like anyone who comes on the podcast, like I'll get them in the group if they want. If they
Yeah.
don't want it, that's fine. But yeah, man, this is so cool. Like they've been in Australia for, I think for like they're a huge international brand.
Yeah,
right?
I've known him for a while. I just never got around to getting one.
Bro, like LeBron, I think like LeBron wears one.
Yep.
Michael Phelps, Ash Barty was wearing one for a little bit. Tiger Woods, like golfers.
Well, if that doesn't say it all, then
Mate,
I don't
you've
know
got
what
the
does.
biggest athletes in the world
Yeah.
wearing them. So they've been in Australia for the last 4 years, but they're going to do a deep dive into the Australian market next year,
Yeah,
which
okay.
is really cool. And obviously, like sat down and they're doing some really cool things in like the mental health space, even like brain health space. And I was like,
Yep.
oh my god, it's so aligned.
Yeah,
with what we're doing.
yeah, for
You know?
sure. No, I'm interested in all that stuff too, so that'd be sick.
Well, it's
Definitely keep me updated.
Yeah, 100%. Trial it. Let me know how you go, and
Yeah.
we'll get you in the group. But mate, thank you again.
No, thank
I'm
you.
so pumped to have you on board, especially like the busy time of year,
Yeah.
like the most busy time of year. So thank
Yeah.
you, mate. Thank you for
No,
taking
no
time
stress.
out.
Always, Keeks, love you.
Love you, brother. You're the best.
Appreciate it.